Tell me, have you ever looked back on a year of your life and realized that God was working in ways you didn't even notice? My friend, I know what it is to walk through seasons where God's hand seems hidden, yet later you see it was guiding every step. When I was brought into the palace of Persia, I did not see the full picture. I did not understand why my path was changing, or why hardship, isolation, and uncertainty were woven into my story. But now I know God was working long before I ever recognized it. So today, as this year draws to a close, let me speak to you about gratitude for God's provision, the kind of gratitude that looks back and sees divine fingerprints all over your journey. Gratitude reminds us who carried us. There was a moment in my life when the fate of my people hung by a thread. I did not feel powerful. I did not feel fearless. I certainly did not feel qualified. And yet, God carried me. You may have moments from this year where you wondered if you were strong enough. Moments where fear whispered louder than faith. Moments where you weren't sure how you would make it through. But look at you. You made it. Not because of your strength alone, but because of the God who upheld you. Gratitude is not just saying, "Thank you, God, for blessing me." It is saying, "Thank you, God, for sustaining me when I didn't know how to stand." It is thanking Him for the strength you didn't realize you had, for the doors that opened unexpectedly, for the protection you didn't see but benefited from, for the nights He comforted you and the mornings He renewed you. Just as God carried me into a palace I never planned to enter, He has carried you through a year you never could have navigated alone. Gratitude recognizes that every victory, every blessing, and every survival was because of Him. Provision is more than what we received. It's who we became. When people speak of God's provision, they often think of material blessings, resources, opportunities, breakthroughs. But God provides something deeper. He provides transformation. Before I ever stood before King Xerxes, God was shaping me in private. He prepared my courage long before I needed to use it. He refined my identity so that when the moment came, I could rise. This year, God's provision may not have looked dramatic. It may have looked like a hard lesson that humbled you, a challenge that made you stronger, a closed door that redirected you, a moment of truth that purified your heart. Every trial I faced was not meant to destroy me. It was meant to prepare me, and the same is true for you. Gratitude means looking back not only at what God gave you, but at who He shaped you to be, more wise, more resilient, more compassionate, more faithful. You are ending this year stronger than you began it, not by accident, but by divine intention. When you thank God for this year, thank Him not only for His gifts, but for the growth that came with them. Thankfulness prepares us for what's next. When I approached the King without an invitation, I did not know how He would respond, but I knew the God who had provided for me before would not abandon me then. Gratitude strengthens your faith for the future. When you remember the battles He fought for you, you trust Him with the battles ahead. When you recall the doors He opened, you believe He will open more. When you reflect on how He sustained you, you walk confidently into the unknown. A grateful heart becomes a courageous heart. And hear this, your story is not ending. It is unfolding. Just as God positioned me for such a time as this, He is positioning you for what comes next. The same God who guided your steps in secret will guide you openly in the coming year. The same God who provided in small ways will provide in greater ways. The same God who refined you will now release you into new strength, new purpose, and new assignments. Walk forward not with anxiety, but with expectation, not with fear, but with faith, not with hesitation, but with gratitude. Look back on this year with eyes wide open. See the moments God held you together. See the quiet mercies that carried you, the unseen graces that protected you, and the divine wisdom that redirected your steps. Then say with confidence, "If God has been faithful behind me, He will surely be faithful before me." This is the power of gratitude. This is the strength of remembering. This is the courage that comes from trusting the God who provides. May you step into the new year covered in gratitude, grounded in faith, and ready for what God has prepared for such a time as this.